Okay, this is gonna be the last video I record today. Um, this one pretty much is gonna be a jumble of things. I'm naming like all these issues, mental problems that I've had and do still currently have. I mean, panic attacks, eating disorder, anxiety, depression, um, hypochondriac, used to cut. But I think I've pretty much covered every mental issue except multiple personalities. I don't have those, so I guess that's good. But pretty much have everything else. I think what's most annoying is that there really isn't a good solution out there for them, and I don't care how many times people tell me cognitive behavioral therapy works. I mean, if it does for you, good. You know, I'm glad something worked for you. But for me, it's never worked. And pretty much, I'm so sick and tired of psychologists and therapists and psychiatrists and counselors and basically anything that you can call yourself that you're trying to tell someone, because my biggest issue is you probably went to school and read from a book. So that's why when I say, I have panic attacks, you respond, well, we're going to do breathing exercises. I'm going to give you a list of things to do to calm yourself down. Well, you're saying that because you read it in a book. Have you ever had a panic attack? Probably not. So, and I just cannot stand going to someone who is going to tell me, I mean, you don't go to a hairstylist who is bald. No offense if you're a bald hairstylist and you're good. I'm trying to make a good analogy and I'm sucking, probably. But pretty much, I don't think that you should be able to counsel people if you've not gone through it yourself. Okay, here's a better example. I do not believe you can be a marriage counselor if you have not been married. If you are a single person, how are you going to counsel a couple? That doesn't make sense to me. So how are you going to tell me how to beat my depression? How are you going to tell me how to kick that eating disorder's butt? You're not. You're going to read me what I can probably read on Google these days. So why am I going to pay you 100 and something plus, who knows, if you don't have insurance, then it's even more. There was a point where I was just so annoyed. I mean, my first therapy session seriously felt like one of those comics where, you know, the guy goes in and the therapist is doodling. That's pretty much what he was doing. The entire time he's like writing on his paper. And I think I spoke for 50 minutes. And he could even be checking his watch. Like, I saw him checking his watch, like, just making sure he didn't go over at 1 minute. And it was like, oh, okay, well, we'll talk more next session. Well, you didn't even say anything. So I could have just talked to my friend for free. So then I found another therapist, and it was the same routine over and over. And I think I saw the most therapist when I had my eating disorder, which also I had my depression, anxiety, just everything at the same time. And cutting. I had that too. I started testing these people because I realized I'm just a patient. They don't care who I am. They just care about their money. And I proved this point because I actually went to see therapists, and I would be completely honest with them, tell them all of my problems, and they'd schedule me for next week. And next week, I didn't go. I wanted to see if they were going to call, see if I was okay. I mean, you would think if they cared and they knew I had all these issues, they were going to call and see if I was okay since I didn't show up. No call. That happened with 3 therapists. The only calls I would ever receive were, you missed your appointment, so it's going to be a $25 extra fee, blah, blah, blah. So I pretty much lost respect for therapists after that, but I still tried going back. I'm just so tired of all these, like, anxiety and depression and panic attacks that I'm desperate. If I had the money, I would do hypnosis, because I'm willing to try anything at this point. But that was my little rant about therapists. I don't know how everybody else's experience has been with them, but unless you've been through it, I really don't think that you should be counseling someone on how to get through it. If you've never had an eating disorder, if you've never looked at yourself in the mirror and had a serious problem thinking you're fat when you're not, how in the world are you going to tell me how I should stop? And if you've never had a panic attack, don't tell me to freaking breathe. I'm sorry, when you are in the middle of a panic attack, the last thing that you can do is breathe. You feel like you cannot breathe. And you're on this, like, adrenaline rush where you think you're dying. Okay, I'm not in the middle of a panic attack going, yeah, I feel better now. Actually, the reverse happens. It makes me more lightheaded, which then makes me think I'm dying even more, if I can die even more. But anyways, I don't know if any of you have had a good experience with a therapist, and if you have, I'm so jealous of you. But if you haven't, feel free to rant and vent about them here. And if you are a therapist and I'm offending you, then sorry, but I've been to, I can't even count how many I've been to, and none of them have helped. The only thing that seems to help is, well, for my panic attacks, is medicine. For everything else, I've just pretty much had to learn what the problem was and fix it myself. So, anyways, that's our last video for today. But I'll be updating, so see you guys later.